dolphin.
Stand by. Image for Hire, broadcasting on WXRWLP Milwaukee, over the airwaves, 104.1 FM, and over the live and recorded streams of the world global internet at riverwestradio.com. I'm coming to you live from the top of my roof at my castle, the castle where I live, St. Mark's Episcopal Church. And when I say live, I mean recorded. I'm sitting in front of a bowl of spinach that I cooked on the stove, not in the microwave, and I'm reluctant to eat it, not because it's not delicious, not because it's this succulent, juicy green, but because I'm full. And I'm full because today, for lunch, I had 12 flautas. I bought them at the deli at El Rey. And at the first bite, I could tell, oh yeah, this is true oil. And when that oil collected in my gut after those 12 flautas, I said, there's going to be an evacuation if I don't get some spinach down there too today. So here I am with the spinach. Today's going to be, I recommend that you get your own spinach, plop it out of the can, steam it, fry it with an egg, eat it raw in a salad, and enjoy it as you listen to this episode of Image for Hire. Ah, the sounds of summer. Distant radio, birds singing, slight breeze, this bee over here on the chair facing off with the housefly for dominance of the patio. These are the things I love. Another thing I love in the summer is the summer play, the summer drama experience. Every once in a while I act, and I will be acting very soon. In fact, let's see, today's the 10th. The 13th? Friday the 13th? Is that for real? I don't know if it's for real or for fake. But soon. The dates will come up later because today is my director, one of my favorite directors. Her name is Jessica something. Please forgive my lack of professionalism. I never wrote it down, but she mentions it. So you can thank her for her professionalism. You can send me an email and say, thank you, Jessica, for your professionalism. You just saved Image for Hire from bankruptcy. And by that, I'm implying that you're a significant donor. So here we go. Without further ado, let's start the interview. Ambiance noises are the best.
Okay.
Don't you agree? Or do you disagree?
I agree.
Well, you didn't have to. You didn't have to agree.
So how long is this?
It is an hour. Are you ready for an hour?
I'm ready for an hour.
Are you?
I am ad-lib all the way.
Have you
I am
ever
an
done
actress. Did you ever know that?
I sort of knew that. But did you have a ad-lib 1 hour show ever? Would you ever do that? I've dreamt about that. I mean, literally had dreams and I wake up sweating.
I'm kind of nervous about doing that, but
I thought you left your phone behind.
I apparently didn't. It just loves me so much it
I
cleared
see.
my pocket.
So there's a lot of things on your mind. You're forgetting things that are even actually in your pocket.
Yeah. No, I did take it on your recommendation. So.
Oh, on my recommendation. Okay, so far we're 3 minutes into it. How did it feel? Did it feel like longer than 3 minutes, or did it feel like less than 3 minutes?
It felt like you didn't tell me when we started.
Oh, well, we started 3 minutes ago.
Thank you for letting me know.
How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with that,
All
as
right.
long as you edit it to make it sound like I was making a point.
Were you? I will do it in post.
I will not
We'll make the
answer
point
that.
in post. All right. Okay, so how many plays have you done?
Oh, man.
Wait a minute, who are you?
I don't know. Have you done an interview before with someone for your radio show?
I've done dozens, and they're all the same. They're like this.
That wasn't enough.
I know. I just haven't picked it up. I'm too old to learn.
My name is Jessica Sosnowski. I am a transplant from Long Island to Virginia to Milwaukee now.
Long Island.
Except I don't say that. That would be my grandmother and my father.
Oh, that's the older generation.
Older generation.
Why do they put the G in the second syllable?
Why don't they say R's in like half their words? I don't know.
Oh, but you do.
In half my words.
Nice.
Yeah, and it depends. I think we were talking about this the other day. It depends on what comes
That's
before
true.
it.
Yeah, that was fascinating. Tell me about that again.
So, let's see. I'm trying to think of a word. Well, here, let's start back up a little bit.
Yeah.
The words like internet are never internet. It's always internet.
Internet.
And I'll say internet. I don't say internet.
That sounds Boston.
Yeah, no, I don't know, but it is that. That's the thing. There's centerpiece that I don't say centerpiece.
You say centa.
Centerpiece. So centipede as well.
But that must be confusing.
Well, I guess you gotta listen to the end of the word and see what it was.
But if you say it fast,
it's
all about context.
Don't really have very many opportunities to say centipede, because I mean.
But it's not centipede. It's centipede.
To me, yeah.
No, to everybody. That's how it's spelled.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know that. See, okay, so there's a thing.
Because the accent, you assumed it was the other way.
Exactly. See. So no. Here's another thing, though. Same idea. Like the word inherent, like inherently wrong.
Yeah.
I had no clue there was an H in there for the longest time, till embarrassingly recently, because my dad would never say that. He's like inerrant for inerrant, like it's unable to err, as well as inerrant, like it's inherent, like inherently evil, he would say.
Yeah.
And so I had no clue.
So did you think they were the same word?
I thought they were the same word with two meanings.
Okay.
And then the other thing, which is terrible because I'm like, who taught me to spell? But anyway, I would have figured that out. I had no reason to write the word out. And then what was the other one? You know how they have like the Jewish Seder feast or whatever? Like, have you ever heard of that? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was Seda until like a number of years ago. I thought it was SEDA because that's how my dad would say it. My dad's a pastor actually, so he would have opportunity to talk about Jews.
Seda.
Yeah, so it's Seda. Yeah, so there's like random words, and I'm like, oh.
That's funny.
It is funny.
That's what it's like when you learn language, though. You hear kids saying things wrong all the time because it's how they hear it.
Mm-hmm.
They mishear.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I don't say coffee or whatever.
Coffee?
Or coffee.
They put a W in there?
It's very weird how they do it. I don't really know how to say it. Sometimes it'll like slip out if I'm not thinking about it, but I don't really. It depends on how fast I'm talking and how angry I am.
Really?
Yeah, that there's garbage. Garbage. It's not garbage, but my grandmother would say garbage. Like take the garbage out, which sounds more Boston, right?
Sure.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what. I don't know. I just don't talk right, basically. But
that's okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's judging you. I mean, I'm sort of judging you.
Yeah, that's okay. But you'll hear, like, sometimes in even, like, when I do rehearsals and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so Yankee, it just slipped out. Like, gotta just listen, gotta catch it, you know? It's like a facade, like, not a facade,
a slip.
A mirage.
A mirage.
Because it's just like, whoa, where did that come from? I'm like, I don't know. Don't judge.
That's good. Don't judge. I like it. And you just called it Yankee.
Yes, well, that's the... See, moving to Virginia, then you're the North is your enemy because you're south of Mason-Dixon. So then you got just like all your Yankees. Like it took forever for my parents to be accepted in the community.
So your whole family moved. It wasn't you moving for college.
Oh no! I was 9 when we moved.
Whoa, and yet you still are Yankee.
Well, my dad wasn't 9 when he moved. I mean, he's
totally Yankee.
He's messed up. Yeah.
Oh, he's messed up.
With his language, human. There's no H before any word that begins with the U sound. Human being.
Really?
That's really humorous.
Seriously?
Sense of humor. He's not going to say it that smoothly, but like when he's talking fast and you catch it, it's like, where was the H in that? I didn't get that.
They're just all dropped.
Yeah, they're all dropped. That's why inerrant. That's the whole thing. You drop the H.
Weird.
But anyway, yeah, my name is Jessica Sosnowski. Moved from Virginia.
Thank you for bringing it back.
I know,
wasn't
right?
going to ask that.
I know.
I was just going to go with this.
Web. Well, I had to connect the web. It was a circle. We were almost at the end. So yeah, we moved from Long Island to Virginia, and then 2015, my husband and I moved from Virginia to here in Waukesha, technically.
Because he got a job. He's a lawyer of some kind.
Some kind, yes. He is. So he's clerking right now, which means he basically writes all the judges' opinions for him for the Court of Appeals. But that ends, and he'll be doing the same job, but for the Supreme Court, Justice Rebecca Bradley in Madison, which means he'll be commuting there every day, which kind of sucks. But we're not moving to Madison because we don't want to be in Madison. I like Milwaukee better. We really liked Milwaukee when we moved here, and we're like, whoa, really big. Well, I mean, Sussex, Wisconsin was huge to me. I mean, have you ever been to Sussex?
What? Yeah.
It's nothing. It's a spit of land, right?
Yeah.
Well, have you been to Appomattox, Virginia, which is where I grew up?
No, I have not.
Well, then you'll realize.
It's Appomattox? I thought it was Appomattox.
Oh my gosh, you're one of them. No, Appomattox is a very common mispronunciation.
It's a flower. Appomattox.
Actually, it's a Native American tribe, I thought.
Oh, interesting.
Powhatan was another, neighboring county or something like that.
Wow,
But,
cool.
but at any rate, no, because of Oconomowoc, is that how you Appomattox? That makes sense. So when I moved here, I thought it was Oconomowoc because of Appomattox.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that weird? Everyone making fun of me.
That's
But
great. Did you say Waukesha?
No, I looked that up because I wanted to know where I was moving to.
Oh, okay.
Appomattox town was 2 miles by 2 miles squared.
Whoa, that's like double Shorewood.
I don't think of what
Shorewood is 1 square mile.
is 1 square mile.
Yeah.
Okay, so that has a beat. Yeah, so the county of Appomattox is 15,000 people,
All right.
give or take. The town,
Like,
like,
is it noisy in here? I had no idea.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
I don't.
no, I like the ambiance.
All right, well, I
Well,
mean,
maybe I do. Maybe I hate it. I don't know.
well, you can't edit it out, so you better make it. I don't mind starting over. But,
No, that's right. We got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, ambiance works as long as you can hear what you're trying to catch, and the ambiance is ambiance and not forefront. So, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll find out. Wait, let's do it. Let's not say anything. It's pretty loud.
You want to redo?
No.
No? Okay.
Maybe we'll move somewhere else, though. I didn't bring my dead kitten.
Or we can
so
just go really, really close like this.
We could get closer, yeah.
Yeah, so Milwaukee obviously was huge. I moved here. You know what's really funny? Okay, you asked me how many plays I've done, and then you said, well, who are you? So, who am I? I already did that. And then after who I am, it's what I do. So, I direct theater, and I play music.
You play music?
I do. I sing and play piano.
Oh, I
Yeah.
vaguely remember something like that coming up in
Yeah.
the last play.
Yes, so then you were asking how many plays I've done. A lot. I can actually find the exact number now.
So what is it about theater that you love? Why do you do it? There's
Storytelling.
no
is-
reward.
No reward? What is not a reward to you? That's kind of a weird question.
Well, it's the struggle, right? It's a part-time job that you see no financial return whatsoever. In fact, you lose money.
Yes, but you gain a lot more. I think generally, especially my generation, but I think every generation has part of this, they don't like to think too hard about much. They like to think as far as it makes them feel good about themselves or the world they live in. And storytelling is a way to bring a lot of the things people don't want to listen to the forefront of their minds. And so getting people to think about things in a different way than they thought before, in an environment where if they really, really hate it, they can still dismiss it as art, but
Okay,
they still
sure.
were forced to think about it anyway, whether they wanted to or not. And I think theater has become just an escape. Like, it's fine to leave your life at your doorstep and go have fun, but I don't think theater was meant to do that in its entirety. I think it was meant to provoke you to think about things in a different way. Like, even the Bible does that, like parables. You had Nathan the prophet telling David, hey, I got this story to tell you, and see if you can finish the ending. And David's like, oh my gosh, this
Kill
should
him.
happen. He's like, Pat, and as I was saying, it was about you. So people don't like to hear things. So people don't like to hear truth.
Right.
Sounds like, hey, I've got to tell you that you're a terrible person, but it makes me think about maybe I should change based on hearing it through somebody else's eyes, that like they're watching. It'll hit home. It'll hit home.
Okay, so that's also something that just regular fiction shares as well. So
Yes.
what makes theater more interesting to you, and why not film?
Well, theater, as opposed to film, allows the actor to experience more of the story, because with film, it's stop and go. Like, you've filmed stuff, not your own stuff, but you've been in other films.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's stop and go, and so you really don't have the same kind of continuity with your character. Like, you memorize your snippet, you stop, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. Okay, take a break for 17 hours. Come back and
Do a different one.
Do a different one. It's out of, or maybe you're doing the end first and then the beginning.
Oh yeah.
you
Or
know?
all the shots in one that are in one room. I'll do those all at once.
Yeah, so it's very hard for the actor to get, it doesn't have to be very hard, but it's harder for the actor to keep that kind of story continuity in his mind as opposed to theater. And then for the audience perspective, with theater, there are a lot of more senses being used at the same time than if you're just reading a book. Like, you're reading, you're understanding the words, you're imagining it, but your ears are actually, you're not hearing it for real, you're not seeing it for real.
Sure.
You can't feel it in the same way. And people's emotions, like, people are going to chase their emotions before anything else.
I want this a little closer.
So,
Chase their emotions.
well, it's easier to do because it's how you feel. It's, everyone's about self-expression now. So if you can appeal to their emotions but still have a very powerful message, they're probably apt to listen sooner. A lot of people do one or the other. They're like, well, it's all about how you feel, all about how I feel, and there's no real standard and blah, blah, blah. There's that one extreme. The other extreme is like, well, I don't care how you feel. This is the way it is. I'm like, well, no, they're still human beings and you still have to care for them. But you can blend those two very easily with theater, I think. And that's my perception of it. That's how I feel about it.
Oh, that's good that you have feelings about it.
I do.
Emotional, let me see, wait. So the emotional, it has the emotional truth. The things that facts and documentaries don't ever get at. A lot of people discount that. I've met many people who say, I don't read fiction, and they're proud of it,
Yeah, well, then they're probably a lot more difficult to talk to.
What? Oh, interesting.
There's plenty of nice people that don't read fiction. That's not the point. What I was thinking more was that it's harder to have people give and take on an issue when they remove the humanity factor from the equation. So you have people that, so you go, well, have you thought about it this way, about whatever subject? And they're like, that's not right, and you're this kind of person, and I'm not listening to you. And I'm like, well, that kind of proves that you're emotional anyway, but you're talking this high horse about, like, all these books I read, all these facts, and you wouldn't know. I'm like, well, if you read fiction, or if you understood how people work and what people value, then maybe you would be humble enough to say, well, let me hear your side of the story. Despite everything I've learned, because the world is a really large place and there's a gazillion and one people in it. Probably only 10 million, but...
It's between 10 million and a gazillion and one. It's somewhere in between there.
Okay, well, I actually heard a projection that it will be 10 million by 2050.
Do you mean billion?
Billion, yes,
okay.
I mean billion.
There we go.
See, that's my Yankee. No.
Numbers never start with the letter B.
Yeah.
It's unnatural.
Yeah, well... Yeah, I would say there's a lot of people, there's a lot of places, there's a lot of things to experience, and so, even something like a very hot topic, especially in Milwaukee, is racism.
Especially in Milwaukee?
Well,
what about Virginia?
I know.
You're from south of Mason-Dixon.
Hang on, though.
Oh.
That's the thing. Like, there's nothing. You don't hear a hint of it where I grew up.
What?
Isn't it crazy? You would think.
Is it because it's just not talked about, or is it because it's
No.
not as big of an issue?
I would have been the person, based on my experiences growing up in Virginia where I live, that racism was in people's brains and it does not exist in this country. You move to Milwaukee, not only is it all you hear about and I used to roll my eyes, but then you do actually see it because it is very prominent here.
Oh, really? Do you have an example? Because maybe I'm just not observant enough.
Well, Milwaukee is, based on the redlining history, one of the most, I think it is the most segregated city in the nation, where the African American community live in an area and the white community live in another area, and it's so very obvious the class difference and such like that. And I understand that race isn't intrinsically tied to class and economy, but it was something you did not see in Virginia where I grew up. Everybody lived together equally, and there was just none of the stark differences in places you would go. The point of all this isn't about racism versus not racism. The point is that I was a person growing up in one place in this country, one place in this world, one spit of land literally in this world, with a certain what I observed was true to me. And then I move and I have another observation in another place with other people that have experienced other things. Is one true, is one not? No, I think that there are different situations based on where you've grown up, based on that place's history. So again, you can read 1,000,001 books, but it could be still slanted toward what you already perceive to be true based on your preconceived notions of where you've grown up, who you've been surrounding yourself with, and you could still essentially miss a lot of facts, and it would be in your better interest to talk to somebody else that's very different from you and learn what that you can walk away and still not disagree, but you'd be far more educated about what you don't know. I mean, the more you learn, the more you should realize you don't know as much as you thought you did.
I agree. But surprisingly, people don't realize that, I don't think. Well, maybe my... Well, okay, here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
There's people that are loud, and
Yes.
they're probably a minority, but they're loud, so they sound like everybody.
That is true, yes. Yes.
And
that
these
is
are the
true.
ones that are not learning to... the new term, I think, is emotional intelligence, right?
I have not heard of that one.
You've never heard of emotional intelligence?
No,
it's a thing.
I'm afraid to know. It doesn't sound like it would be very...
They even have a Q for it, like IQ, but for emotional Q.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's EQ, but that sounds too much like audio, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably not. Well, what exactly is it? Is like how smart you are with your emotions? Or?
No, how intuitive you are in your interactions with other people.
Oh, isn't that
So
like
you-
a Myers-Briggs test score? Or
Oh, it might be. Intuitive. Yeah. But
Intuitive. And-
that's a different intuitive.
Okay.
That's intuitive for problem solving, isn't it? Or
I'm an S, so I wouldn't know.
you're an S? What's that? Satisfactory?
Sensing. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I
That's
don't
what
either.
The score. Well, this is the thing. Yeah, that one always messed me up. Like the N versus the S in the second letter of the score. N would be intuitive, and sensing is S is sensing, and the difference is how you process information in the world.
Oh, it
so
is how you process information. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's it's supposed to be, and it was most confusing because I'm always borderline when I take the test. Apparently, lately I'm an S.
How often do you
Sensing-
take the test? Like weekly?
My brother is really into it, and all my sisters-in-law, and they're always like, "Oh, you should take it every once in a while because blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Well, it takes like 4 seconds. Why not?" But well, I guess I also do it because nobody believes that I'm an introvert, so they're always
okay.
like, "Just take it again." I'm like, I'm still gonna get 90% introvert.
You're 90% introvert.
I got 90% in the last
Wow.
time. Anyway, N and S, sensing is supposed to be like, if someone explains something to you, you're the kind of person that would say, all right, well, give me an example of that so I can understand what you just said, like an idea or a philosophy or
a story.
I don't know.
Right, where
if
it happened in action, like
maybe, or like if you give like a
An
scenario,
example.
like if you give a hypothetical, like they want a, for example, concrete example, how would you apply that concept? Yeah, concept. Like if you're explaining a concept, the intuitive person is more likely to be like, oh yeah, I understand how that would work by just hearing the concept. The sensing person is going to say, all right, well, give me that concept in action, like a form. Like how would you use that concept in the real world? And then they would understand a little better.
okay,
So-
that makes sense.
So that's kind of the difference.
So the emotional intelligence,
Okay,
and
yes.
people who are involved in improv are supposed to have a higher emotional intelligence. It's all
Okay.
about your interactions with other people. So
Okay.
people that come up and they start yelling at you right away when something goes wrong,
Yeah.
that's considered a low
Low.
emotional intelligence. Yeah, it's like one of the extreme examples of low.
I gotcha. Okay.
So
I don't know.
I don't know why that came up.
Well,
even.
does it count if you do you still have a high emotional intelligence if you can smile and nod, but inside you're about to explode, and you just never do it?
Maybe
You still have a high intelligence. Okay.
because it depends, I guess, on your motive. Like you don't,
I guess.
you know what the other person is thinking, so you don't
or like
want to
you save it and then you like take it home to your roommate or spouse or whatever, and then
and
you
destroy them.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't thinking necessarily destroy them, but
Oh.
you're like, just hear me out and let me vent about this, and then you like freak out about whatever the heck happened. Do you still have high emotional intelligence because you still needed to like bring that bottle and explode it
Sure,
somewhere?
yeah, it's got to go somewhere,
No.
right?
This is too philosophical for emotional intelligence, isn't it?
I don't know, maybe. I don't even. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, why do they need a category called emotional intelligence? Why can't they just be smart or dumb?
Because maybe you're a rocket scientist,
And
then but you don't know how to talk to people.
well, isn't that like? It sounds like someone needs a safe space though, because they're like, what? They're jealous of the person who can't be a rocket scientist, or they're like, well, I need to be smart too. I can like you.
Oh, okay.
I can like you, so I'm really smart with my likes.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I don't
sure.
know. That sounds. I mean, that's not to say that people are more empathetic than others and sympathetic than others. Like, you have like the whole love language thing, the 5 love languages, and like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'll feel appreciated if you do A, B, or C to me, and you feel appreciated if this. Like, there are words of affirmation people. So like,
Yeah.
there are some people that can give like hardcore encouragement to the people, and like,
Yeah, but I mean, maybe
it's
the
a
emotional
gift. I don't know
intelligent
if
people
it's, like-
also understand like the 5 love languages. Like, oh, you like gifts? Okay, here's a penny.
yeah, like I think that's just intuition, though. I don't know. If,
No, that could be. I don't know.
I don't know. But
It
I
could
mean,
be just a made-up thing.
I would
So
lean
you're,
toward that.
you're leaning towards it being a made-up thing.
Apparently, my emotional intelligence is pretty low.
Do you have
because
a
I'm not
conspiracy theory for this?
Oh,
Lay it
I
on
have-
me. Why would they make this up?
Because everyone needs to be equal.
Oh, okay, that's right. It's part of the
It's-
equalitacity.
Well, it's like, I
stocracy.
can't paint a picture, so I'm going, I can't paint well.
Try not to touch this table too much, by the way.
Oh,
It looks
sure.
filthy, but...
Ah, pff.
Oh, you don't care? Okay.
I don't care.
So you can't paint a picture.
And I personally can't even do that. That's why I have 3 other people doing my set.
I
But
see.
I can't paint, so I'm going to paint something that's disgusting and call it art and say I have a high emotional intelligence because I can use this art to reach people who can't draw either, and they'll feel like they're part of the in crowd of the art community.
Right.
That's one example.
That's
Then
grad
there's,
school.
you
That
know-
was my grad school you just described right there.
Okay, well, and that is coming from someone who can't draw at all, and I wouldn't try to pretend I can.
Oh.
Then there's music too. I see it more in the art community though, and that's why I'm not ashamed that I can't add. I couldn't even get into 9th grade math. I failed pre-algebra, so I don't care about that. But maybe someone who can is like, well, I'm smarter here, and people have to be. People have this incessant need to be accepted for anything at all. So.
Well, yeah, we want to be accepted. I buy
Well,
that.
I would rather be accepted and appreciated for something worthwhile.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
if
Like you put on a great show.
well, I put on a great show, or I am genuinely nice to them. I don't want people to just sympathize with me. I want to make it in the world. I guess I'm not really being very clear, but let me think about this for a second. I guess what I'm saying is that there are actually a lot of opportunities now for people not to do well.
Oh.
So
okay.
and people cater to that. It's
right.
it's
It's the old "you're okay." You're
yeah,
okay.
I'm okay. You're okay. Well, or actually, I'm not okay. You're not okay, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's-
Exactly.
Yeah. So no, I think yes, people should care about people regardless of what they can do because we're human beings. But you shouldn't be able to get ahead in life unless you've worked for it.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
I think that's kind of what I'm trying
And
to
so
get at.
you think the emotional intelligence is part of the. It's okay that we're gonna boost you along anyway.
Yeah, it's like
All
an
right.
emotional fraternity here.
Emotional fraternity.
Or union.
Union.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's my
The emotional union.
See, I learned in logic class that if you preface everything with "I think" or "my opinion is," then no one should theoretically be able to argue with you. So I should just add, "But that's just my opinion," kind of like Michael Savage used to do when he had a show. That, or if you say things as questions, because questions have no truth value, so
Yes.
they can't actually argue with you. I mean, they do, but you just say, "I asked a question." And I mean, your philosophy is going to leak through anyway because that's the kind of people we are. But
Yeah, yeah.
technically, if you slice it up, can't argue with a question.
Right. And I've seen some horrible questions that were done like that. Like it's a question, but it's really a statement.
Like,
And they take a long time. These drag out. It's like a 1 minute, 2 minute question.
oh, geez.
It was on a news show.
As long
They
as
were
it's not a
interviewing
leading
it.
question, not a leading, a question that assumes the answer. I forget what it's called. It's like, have you stopped beating your wife?
Oh yeah.
You
It's
know?
like no matter how you answer, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's like,
a
well,
catch-22.
Yeah, catch-22. I think there's an actual
Speaking
name
of
for it.
question, are you ever going to put on catch-22?
I haven't read it. I haven't read it, I know. There's a lot of plays that I have not read, and meanwhile I'm directing theater. People, because it was kind of an accident that we did it anyway. We weren't planning to have this big theater company originally.
What?
And,
Okay,
yeah.
let's... Shh. Okay, so you went to school and studied theater.
No.
What?
No, I took one directing class ever in my life. I audited it.
What about acting?
I didn't take any acting
What'd you study in
classes.
college?
I didn't go to college other than 1 year.
You didn't even go to college?
Yeah.
Good
My
job.
husband has the theater minor, actually. Meanwhile, he can't act work squat.
Ouch. Ooh, I
He'll
won't
tell.
tell him. I'll edit that
Actually,
out.
he would tell you.
Oh,
but-
he'd tell me.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
would tell you. I think he can act if he puts his mind to it, but he has a lot of distractions going. I mean, he was my Algernon. He was a really, really good Algernon in
Oh, was he?
Importance of Being an Artist. Yeah, but he had less on his plate, and he doesn't do very well with a lot of stress, and so he wants to concentrate on theater or concentrate on law and making money for the family. So I'm just like, why don't you just feed me and we'll be okay.
Okay, good call.
So I'll do the theater.
Say it like it is.
You could do the lighting, which he very much enjoys. He really enjoyed tech. But no, I went to college for a single year. First semester of that year, I took a music class, and I took a voice and movement for theater, but that wasn't an acting class. That was particularly to fine-tune relaxing techniques and certain like avant-garde kind of stuff, which is ironic because I'm like the most stressed person you'll ever meet. But then the other semester, the spring semester, I took a writing class, again, whatever, and then a directing class, which actually...
How can you take a directing class without taking any acting classes?
Because you audit it. So have you heard of auditing? So I paid $80 for the whole year, practically. Like, you don't have to, like, because what happens when you audit a theater class, it's by professor, so you have to ask if they would allow you to audit.
Sure, yeah.
And then everyone was fine with me doing it. So you do still pay through the school, but they just get the $80 or whatever the class is worth, but you don't get any credits.
Right, you don't get jack.
So, like, if you look me up, did you go to Sweetbriar College? No, I didn't, because I'm not in their system and I got no credits. Okay, well, you know what? I still know the information. I read all the books, and I'm going to put it to use.
Wait, all your classes you audited?
I audited every single freaking class I ever took.
You're a genius. That's
so, I mean,
brilliant.
I saved a heck of a lot of money.
Yeah.
The knowledge is still in my brain. It's not like I got less of an information. I did all the homework assignments. And yeah, so... the directing class, and I read a lot. I was in touch with him for a long time afterwards. What I also did was I attended a lot of shows. I took notes. I compared my notes. I would just take this like, hey, this director did this with their set design. Why? How strong was the tension in this area versus this area of the stage, just placement-wise? How were the costumes done? Things that were...
Why? Why did you spend this time and money and spend so much attention and focus on learning?
Because I didn't want one person's opinion on it either. If I couldn't afford college, first of all. Second of all, I had a lot of issues where I don't think I could have mentally handled the stress of going for a degree. And so I was like, well, I'm going to a theater production. I'm in the audience. Again, I'm very introverted. So I don't have to be singled out for homework to that degree, or, the papers due and whatever.
Oh, right.
So I will see what this director did. I mean, if someone's reasonably in tune with the theater arts, they're going to go to a play and they'll know if it's a bad or good play.
Sure.
I mean, the general layman may not, but that's fine. I mean, that's not their craft. But I'm going to know why. But normally, if I wasn't interested in doing anything with it, I'd be like, oh, that was a bad play, and I wouldn't really think about why. Like, was it the costumes? Was it the lines? What was it that made it bad? So I would consciously think about that and make a list of things in my mind or on paper if I brought a notebook. And I would just get to see a lot of shows. So, I mean, heck, that's fun for me. Then I would, I got to the point where me with no theater degree, whatever, I was asked to be a Shakespeare judge for a local school.
Well, how did that happen? How did they learn you were even
I happened
available?
to know one of the professors it was a high school. I knew one of the teachers there pretty well, and she asked if I could be one of the judges, and that was after we had done the company for a while at that point.
Oh, okay. So,
but it wasn't
you had a
like
name then.
Yeah, I had a name then, but again, I was still someone who didn't have a theater degree behind me, who was still being recognized.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
So you went from auditing, and you weren't going to start a company. How did that happen?
This is what happened. So when I took a year off after high school. So my birthday's in May, so I was 18 when I graduated high school. So from 18 to the next May 19, I actually didn't do anything. I worked. I didn't go to school. So from 19 to 20, I went to college and did that auditing. During that year, I also went to a lot of plays just because I was doing kind of my own homework and whatnot. When I was 20, that was when James came up and said, hey, we should do this project because I'm really kind of upset with the theater department at my school. He went to a supposedly Christian college, and they were pretty much butchering the arts, not only with its like the quality of it, but there were a lot of things that were lacking. If you're a Christian and you value Christian principles, that they were very much compromising.
Ah, okay.
And he said, you can still have good quality theater without having to compromise your morals.
Sure.
And I would like to explore what we might be able to do, because we're in a small community. It was, doors opened for anybody who wanted to make a difference there. And so I was like, all right, well, let's see what we can do. So we partnered with a couple people we knew. We said, hey, we'll just do a couple scenes from a couple plays.
Whoa.
And we'll analyze them from a Christian perspective, which is still what we do today, and see who comes. Will our parents come only? Is it going to be a waste? Are we going to? And at that point, he's like, well, you know a little bit about theater, And I was like, well, all right, fine. So we did that. It was 4 scenes from 4 different plays, and we had a lot of people who showed up that were not part of our little inner circle of people, like people we didn't know. I think there were about 60 people that showed up to that show,
wow.
which is pretty good for a bunch of teenagers doing crap. So
you're just.
Well, no, I wasn't a teenager. I had just turned 20.
Okay, so you weren't 10 something.
I was the old one. James was still 18, 19. He's a little younger than I am, and then the other girl was a little younger than me. So after that, though, he was like, man, it was such a great success. We should do it again next year. See what happens. We did it in August, so the next August. I was like, all right, well, that'll give me time to study up and see if I know what I'm doing. And that's when I really went to see the shows.
Oh, okay.
What really made it like, okay, we have to keep doing this, is that when we started advertising for our next show, people who had saw the show from last year were like, I've been waiting for this. I can't wait to see your show again. And I'm like, who are you? Like, how come you've been hanging around for a year hoping we'd do another show? Like, that's really strange, because there's other places you can go. I mean, not too many, but that was really encouraging. Because like, well, you did it with, I was able to think about what was going on behind it, and I had not gotten that before.
Nice.
So after that second show, we're like, all right, we're going to up it to 2 shows, maybe 3 shows. We still haven't done 3 shows a year. We usually do 2 because it's more or less a one-person gig.
All right.
But yeah, that's actually what started it going, as far as me figuring out, okay, do I want to do this for real? Because I always thought it was going to be music. I really never thought it was going to be theater. I still do music, but it's definitely not the number one thing on my plate.
Wow.
So, and then let's see. So how many shows? I actually pulled up the site a long time ago to see how many shows I have done. So we did Candida. Have you ever heard of Candida by George Bernard Shaw?
No.
You haven't.
But I've heard of Shaw.
I just totally said George Bernard Shaw. I said that when it was too fast, and you can hear it when you play it back.
I can't wait.
So, Candida, yeah, it's not definitely one of the popular ones, but it's the first one we did, 2010, like after the 2009 scenes. So let's see, we did Candida. We did the next year. We did 3 one-act plays. It was the year I got married, so I couldn't do a full-length production.
So you did 3 mini productions.
So we did, actually, like 2 months before the wedding, I did 14 by Alice Gerstenberg. You probably never heard of it. It's a one-act comedy. It's about...
How do you pick these out? How do you find these plays?
Oh, I was doing all royalty-free because we had no money, so I literally went, what are royalty-free plays?
Oh.
And I would just research what that was. I bought plays. I worked at a bookstore at the time, and so it was a used bookstore, so I got first dibs on books that came in, so I take all the theater books. Actually, every single theater book I own, except for a couple recent, are from that bookstore. I read a lot. Her Tongue and He Said and She Said, again, 2 other comedies that year. Then A Doll's House and The Importance of Being Earnest. We did Spring and Fall for 2012. We did 4 one-acts, but it was 2 one-acts with an intermission, and then 2 one-acts with an intermission, Spring and Fall. So those were all comedies again. We did only 1 show for 2014, The Ransom of Red Chief. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
Oh, that's one I would like to redo again here. It will be done here again. It's about a boy who is kidnapped by 2 guys looking to make a ransom off of him. But the kid is a royal terror, and they decide, we just gotta get rid of him. We'll cheapen our ransom price, whatever.
Oh, wow.
And so his dad, or in this play, it's his uncle, gets wind of the ransom note. He's like, how about this? Why don't you pay me?
Yes,
I'll take
I was
them
hoping
off
it would
your
go to that.
hands.
Yes.
And the whole interaction, and and of course the kid is ridiculously crazy.
How do you get a kid to pull that off? How do you get a kid to pull off anything?
My little brother-in-law actually did it at the time. He, James's little brother, he was 10 at the time. He dyed his hair red, and sadly enough, he's basically was ran.
So he just played himself.
Red Chief. He played himself because at that point he was off the walls, but he memorized and he had a blast. And I have that actually on YouTube. If you look up the Company of Strangers Theater on YouTube, we have clips of most of our past productions. None from Milwaukee yet, but all of our Virginia productions, or most of them, just like highlight portions.
Well, what's your reception been like in Milwaukee? Do you have people saying, "I can't wait for your next show," or "I've been waiting for it"?
Well, I have less of a pulse on that here because I don't have access to my my ticket sales.
You don't?
No, Matt from the UC takes care of that through Brown Paper Tickets, I think it's called, or Eventbrite or something.
Yeah.
So I can't see repeat names and things, and I'm not necessarily going to see them in the audience, like if there's repeat people. I have noticed that the last 2 times I did notice like the same guy, like randomly, but I mean, okay, one guy, which, yay, please come back, but I can't tell as easily, whereas I used to. It was just the way that everything was lined up. I could see people, and it was such a small town too. Like you pretty much did know everybody, so you knew if they.
Is that creepy?
It could be. My dad was a very big political figure at one time in the area, so people either hated him or loved him. And then I was the girl that worked in the only coffee shop / bookstore in the place, so I got to see everybody.
Sure. So you did know everybody, literally. Yeah,
I
cool.
pretty much did. It was hard. I was hard pressed to find people I didn't know. After 2014, we did 12 Angry Men and Macbeth in 2015, and that was the year we moved. So after Macbeth, we ended up moving back to Milwaukee, and then here we did An Enemy of the People, which you were here for.
Yeah.
We were in that, and then The Glass Menagerie and An Ideal Husband were both last year, and then this past March we did a Neil Simon. We did The Star Spangled Girl.
Yeah.
And then this one is coming up with The Telltale Heart and the Mind of Poe.
It's called "And the Mind of Poe."
The Telltale Heart and the Mind of Poe. Did you not know the title?
I didn't know there was
of the play?
a subtitle. No,
No. The whole title is called The Telltale Heart and the Mind of Poe. And then, now here's a story though.
Yeah.
So this play, I saw it in 2000. I was, I don't know how old I was, younger than now. It was. It was done at...
Wait, you saw it in 2000?
I saw it in 2000 in Virginia.
So you were just this little kid.
I was a little kid. Well, how old do you think I am now?
Well, that's 18 years ago.
Yeah, oh geez. So yeah, I was at 11, really? No. I was 11. It made a very big impression on me. I remember it yesterday.
Did it freak you out? Were you terrified?
Oh gosh, no. Actually,
what?
That year, well, the reason we went, I was homeschooled my whole life.
Okay.
My whole life, yeah, until now.
Are you?
No, until 18.
Until 19, when you went to college and audited.
Well, no, I graduated at 18, and then that year I took off I worked. I just worked the whole time,
Sure.
made money. But yeah, a lot of money. Yeah, right. What I was saying is I saw this play in 2000 because I had each year with all the reading, writing, arithmetic kind of thing, I would pick a particular topic like off the beaten track and we would study it. So one year I wanted to learn about CD technology, like a random thing, and I would learn how CDs were made.
How'd you pick these out?
I was interested.
Okay,
I had all my
wondered,
recording
and so
stuff. Well, I was into music, so I wanted to know how the music,
right.
like how does it go onto the tape, like the not VHS, cassette tapes, how it gets burned in the CD. Why should you clean the CD from the outside to the inside as opposed to around, like all that kind of stuff. That was one of my unit studies. Another one was Edgar Allan Poe. And then that's why my mom was like, hey, this year, that's what I chose at 11 years old. I had a very dark mind. It was like, hey, well, the Renaissance Theater down the street, 45 minutes away, is doing this Edgar Allan Poe show called The Telltale Heart and the Mind of Poe. Let's go see it. Okay, great. So I went with my dad and mom and my brother, and my sister was out of town at that point, I think. But it was the play we're doing. And I thought it was amazing and kind of went out of my mind, whatever, until now I'm doing my own theater. I'm like, I have to get my hands on that play. And here and there, I kind of looked around for it. I never found anything online. I was like, all right, well, we'll do something else. And I'm like, no, I've got to do this play. I just have to find it. So I contacted the Renaissance Theater. Like, I emailed them from here. And I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember a long time ago. I don't even remember what year it was. I don't know if I sound stupid. I have to find this play. I can't find it anywhere. It's like, well, yeah, you won't find it anywhere, they said, because it was actually a college student production that used our facility. And
Whoa.
I will get you in touch with the guy who headed that project up. It was my directing professor.
What?
Yes!
It was his baby?
It was his baby. I was
Wow.
like, Mr. Kirshner, it's me from your class who didn't take the credits. What the heck? We started our own theater company, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're in Milwaukee. That's awesome. And then he got me in touch with the person who actually had a copy of the script, which they sent me in JPEG. And I had to decipher
What?
it. Did you hear about that? Yeah.
No.
Well, apparently...
Who would do that? And
terrible people. But no, what happened
technically
was...
unsavvy. They have a low emotional intelligence. Do they have any idea how that made you feel?
I laughed. That's how it made me
Oh, okay. Well, maybe they knew what they were doing then.
Well, here's the thing, though. My professor there said, hey, it was a student project, so a lot of it was just notes that kind of, evolved as we were doing it, so I don't know how much of it is left or whatever. It was 18 years ago. I hope we could find it for you. I'm like, heck yes. So he got me in touch with the person who he said likely still had a copy, because he didn't. And he did have a copy, but he sent it to me. It's nothing like it looks like on the stage. And I'm like,
what?
The entire ending isn't even in his notes. And I remember the ending. That was the huge thing for me. And I'm
when
like,
everybody...
Yeah, when they attack the doctor and they tie him up in the
Whoa.
straitjacket. And the whole like walking out portion where they're like in the red. And I'm like, I remember this at 11, and I'm like, I am not... Where's the notes? Like, where is this? And I said, because I was gonna sign a contract to use it, and I was going to pay a royalty fee and whatnot. It was their stuff, and I was like, did you take a chance to look at this before you sent it to me? Because it's not performable right now. Like, it's just notes, and it's in JPEG, and I can't make notes on it, and like, you have two choices now. Either you fix it and you give me the play I saw in 2000, or you allow me to make edits, even though I just kind of like signed a contract saying I wouldn't change the stuff, which makes no sense now.
Right, yeah, because it's
and
not
he
even
looked
a
at it, he's
script,
like,
right?
let me look at it. I was like, yeah, that would help. Oh yeah, that's not anything. He's like, I'll tell you what, we'll tear up the old contract, I'll send you a new one, you can make any edits you want and we won't charge you because you did. I was like, yes. So
do you have to send him all your work?
I have to, yes.
Like a completed script?
Like a completed script, and I have to send him all our advertising materials, like the posters and things, and I also have to send a video of it.
Oh.
So it's all good. I basically put together 60% of what's on that stage right now.
That's really great.
I remember a lot of the flavors of it and everything. Like a lot of the I almost said lyrics. A lot of the lines, I'm sure, like aren't actually in there. Like Kate's part, Seth's part are not actually things. Annabelle Lee was not in there.
Oh, why'd you add it? Annabelle Lee.
Well, because we had so many people. This was a 7-man play, actually.
Well, why not just keep it at 7?
Because I like everyone I'm working with.
Oh, I see.
Actually,
interesting motive.
Here's actually the real...
That's high emotional intelligence.
This is the real reason.
That's low other intelligence, though.
No, here's the better one. Maybe I can have high of both.
Okay.
The real thing is because I don't have a lot of people that audition, and because I'm new, I usually get...
I see your ads on Facebook all the time, more than anybody else.
Well, I'm doing, like Matt from the UC, he keeps telling me I'm doing everything right. It's just if people want to take a chance on someone who's new as opposed to going to Sunset or going to, Lake Country Playhouse or going to...
Well, at Sunset you get a stipend.
See, I can't do that. I've got no
But you
money.
don't get a stipend at West Dallas Players.
Yes, but they have a name, or is it Cream City something or other? There's another theater. Maybe that's the same thing, but
It's not the same thing, but...
Either way, so I'm like, if somebody auditions for me, I really would like to use them if I can. Like, obviously, if there's no more parts, they can't. But this is kind of a living document right now in my hand, so I can do things with it.
You can do whatever you want. That's awesome.
So everyone who auditioned got a part, and that means that there's 13 people in this play. There were 13 people who showed up.
Okay, now that the ventilation's off, let's start over.
Yeah,
so
right.
who? Oh, okay. You're
Okay.
closed.
Oh, well, how many
we
more
got
minutes?
10. We got 11 minutes.
11 minutes.
So that'll probably give her enough time to do her rounds and come back and yell at us again.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. If you're brave enough to do that.
I am.
That's just low intelligence all the way around.
I've never claimed anything else.
Okay. You were going to ask me something?
Was I?
I don't know.
I have lots of things to ask you. That's
Yeah.
my job.
Yeah, I know.
But-
I'm the one being interviewed. Anyway, yeah, so we live here now, and I still do theater. I still am trying to make a base of people.
What I don't understand is how did this even come into your head? Theater. Was it because of Edgar Allan Poe?
Oh, you
was
mean
that
like
the catalyst from way back when you were a kid? Like,
well, I mean, in retrospect, it could have had very well something to do with it because at 11 years old, I had no. I was all about music, and actually, I was all about. I want to be a writer. I want to write a story. I have my 11-year-old book that I started writing.
Whoa, is it awesome? I don't have mine anymore.
It's horrendous. Oh. It was ridiculous. It was. No, get this. I'll tell you about that though.
All right.
I grew up on a goat farm of all things. I thought they were the most cute animals ever.
Goats.
I know. It's not like a sheep, or like sheep are disgusting creatures, by the way.
Oh, are they? I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh. A goat is a very clean animal in comparison to sheep are disgusting.
Well.
But anyway.
I'm gonna
so of course my whole little 11-year-old book was about,
Wait a minute, you grew up on a goat farm?
Yes.
How many goats were you raising? Did you have to milk them? Did you make cheese?
No.
Did you get headbutted a lot?
No.
Did they eat tin cans?
They did. They ate everything. They ate everything. Actually, so many things to say at that, but let me break it down.
Oh, all right.
We actually raised them just to sell because my dad grew up in Brooklyn. He's not gonna be milking goats, but he wants to feel hardcore, and he'll say that.
He wants to feel hardcore.
So for example, and that's not disrespectful at all. Like we have the most city-rigged farm. Like if you visit my dad's farm, he doesn't have any goats anymore. I don't think. I think he's just down to the chickens. But like. Basically, you press a button and you got like pulleys doing all the crap for him.
That's
awesome.
It's
ingenious.
Did he jury rig that himself?
Yes, he rigged that himself.
I love him. He's like Rube Goldberg.
So my Brooklynese grandmother, who moved down with us a number of years after we did, she died at 83, and so at 80, 79, whatever, and can we put the chickens in? You'd think, oh my gosh, this all she'd do is walk into the little mowed front lawn, pull a little string and go back inside. It was great. So it was perfect. So. That all to say, my dad's I'm not, doing all this, nasty stuff with farms. I'm going to make it clean. And so we didn't milk the goats. No, we did not butcher any chickens. We did the buying and selling. So we would have someone who would do all of that stuff buy from us.
Oh,
so
okay.
So we would breed the goats, regularly and stuff,
wow.
Make sure they're all together when they needed to be. And so I just loved goats. I thought they were so cute, and they had long ears. And I would totally have a pet goat right now. You gave me a pet goat, I would totally have that in my house. I'd have it like a dog.
Are they smarter than dogs?
No, but
they're just cute.
I have a soft spot in my heart for goats.
I see, sure.
But an 11-year-old novel that I think I write, no one's reading a book about how this kid wants a goat so badly and finally gets one. Nobody's reading that.
That's why it needs to be written.
No, it's called Most people write about getting a pet puppy or a kitten.
Yeah. We're sick of that story, though.
And P.S. Yes, exactly. It's the same story.
But only with a goat.
It's only with a goat. I'm like, how original is that? I thought I was going to make millions. I still have that.
Oh, because it was so unique.
Well, no, because it was just me taking a stab at something stupid. So anyway, so that was...
Taking a stab at something
with the theater, that came a lot later, primarily because of James, actually, saying, well, you really should help. He's like, you really should help me do this. That's back in the day.
That's what it was.
And then he's
how did he know you had the skills?
He didn't. He's like, I have the theater degree.
He just liked you, so he was like...
Yes, that is a thing, too, because that's the next interview.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
Yeah, so... No, he's like, I have a theater degree. I have an idea to let's do for theater, but I need help doing it. He already knew I was taking a class in it just for fun. So he's like, well, you guys have more director know-how than I do. So why don't you figure out what you guys are going to do?
It's unbelievable that even worked and became anything.
I know.
It's
really
startling
it was supposed to be. But people ask me that, I'm very intimidated by people who have had the formal education in theater.
Sure,
because,
of course, yeah, because you have that complex, imposter syndrome.
Well, it's that I don't have the terminology that some people are like, oh, you want me to do ABC, or like, oh, that's this, and I'm like, yeah, but I just used a paragraph to explain what I was getting at, and you said it in a sentence.
Oh,
so
sure,
I know what I'm trying to get at, and
but you don't have the jargon.
Yeah, I don't have the lingo, so that intimidates me. It also intimidates me because American versus British acting style. American tend to do American, and I am not a big fan of that version. I like to blend the two. American acting often finds the motivation for your character as coming from within and being able to allow that to force your actions to come out. There's a place for that. British acting will often and again, this is me, there's a term for this, and I'm just explaining the whole thing. British acting will harp on, like, okay, actor, do X, Y, and Z. Now you got to figure out why you're doing that. So it's a little bit imbalanced, I guess, one extreme versus the other. But the reason Americans like their American acting so much is because you get to feel the character and allow your inner self to come out. But then
so
you never do anything. You're just sitting there. The character, I could be very content and find all my motivation sitting here. If I'm sitting here for an hour, they're not going to come see this show. But I could be very motivated doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
So I have to, if someone's like, in acting, I've gotten this feedback. It's like, well, I don't really feel like moving over there with this. I was like, well, do it. Tough luck. Like, you have to because of other aspects. Like, it's starting to get stagnant on the stage, or, I need the energy to be higher, or whatever the issue may be. Like, there needs to be a nice blend of those two approaches.
Sure.
So, I don't know where I was going with that, but it was fun to say.
That was really a great thing to say. That was insightful and interesting.
Oh, I know what it was. Because of the intimidation. Because a lot of, I remember like the first day of my audited directing class, the professor was asking some questions about our theater backgrounds, like anything we've done. And so he's like, what are some of the most profound things that a director has helped you in when you've acted? And I've done a high school play or two. And I was like, well, I said, I really like it when, if I can't comprehend something, like the director has exhausted all of her energy or all of his energy, and then they show me what to do, like as in they'll actually be the character and I can visualize it.
Sure.
I think that's part of my sensing too.
That's part of sensing. Thanks for bringing it back to that.
And the other students in the class, they're like, oh, that's a bad director.
What?
They literally said that, and no, she wasn't a bad, and I had someone in mind, and I was like, why? And then the professor, my professor that I said, and he's like, well, no, it's not bad directing, but you do want to err on the side of, and he explained American acting.
Oh,
and so then I was
see.
like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, and maybe she was bad and everything, but A, it was high school plays, and so she had a different audience to work with, the one I was talking about. B, no, sometimes they do actually need to see it, and I'm going to stand my ground on that because everyone processes information differently. And so if you need to see things a certain way, you're like, oh, that's what you mean. It'll click for them. You know what? It doesn't really matter how you get to what needs to be done as long as you get to be done, because it is somewhat of a subjective art form. I think there are standards of excellence, of course, but approach, like, again, what was at the beginning of this interview? Everybody is different. Everybody has come from different backgrounds, different places. They process the world differently. And you have to be willing to bend to that and not just say my way or the highway when you're trying to have a bunch of different people work together to bring a story to the stage. But I love doing it because I do like meeting new people, and I hope they don't think I'm as weird as I feel.
No, they probably do.
Thanks.
They probably do.
I'm
Hey, we're out of
taking it
time.
from you. All right.
Where can people find you online, and when is the date? What are the dates of the show?
Yes, so the Company of Strangers, thecompanyofstrangerstheater.com, and theater is ER, the American spelling. And then we also have facebook.com/The Company of Strangers Theater, YouTube, The Company of Strangers Theater. Like the page, we are 30 shy likes of 600 likes. I'd really like you to help me out with that.
Yeah, let's get it up to 600.
Yeah.
Where can we buy tickets for the upcoming show?
Yes, Telltale Heart and the Mind of Poe is opening on July the 13th, 7 o'clock, and it's going to play July 14th and the 20th and the 21st. The 21st is a matinee at 4. They can get it at the website, thecompanyofstrangerstheater.com. Also at the Facebook page, there's an events page, which the ticket link is through that as well. You can get tickets online or at the door.
All right. That sounds great.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on. We'll see you at the opening.
All right.
There it is, Cave Dweller, the Southern Yankee, director of Telltale Heart and the Mind of Poe, opening up soon. Go and see it. This episode, we discussed professionalism, American regional English, technical problems, storytelling, the uses of fiction, racism, perceived truth, emotional intelligence, the Myers-Briggs test, auditing, college classes, building a theater company, and goat farming. Oh, and also American versus British acting. We'll be here again at the same time next week. Until then, do what you can to escape the prison planet.
Another thing.